did turn out to be. So he watched me. He didn't let me do any of those things, whatever. I mean, I can't think what they are now, but...
You know Mary Tyler Moore as America's sweetheart, the woman who could turn the world on with her smile. But the real Mary, she was so much more complicated than that. Look, I'm not here to trash anyone's legacy. What I want to talk about is something more interesting. The gap between who we thought Mary was and who she actually turned out to be. Because in her final years, people close to her say she opened up about the darker side of Hollywood, and specifically about certain co-stars who made her professional life difficult. Here's what most people don't understand about Mary Tyler Moore. She wasn't just nice. She was disciplined. She showed up early, knew her lines cold, and treated everyone on set with respect, from the director down to the crew. That wasn't an act. That was her code. But here's the thing about having standards that high. Not everyone appreciates it. Some people saw it as threatening. Others thought she was just being uptight. And a few, well, they made it onto what friends described as her mental list of people she'd rather forget. This wasn't about petty drama or celebrity feuds. Mary stayed quiet for decades because she understood how Hollywood worked. You speak out too soon, and suddenly you're the problem. But time has a way of changing that calculation. So who bothered Mary Tyler Moore enough to remember them decades later? Rosemary DeCamp was the first shock. To audiences, Rosemary was funny and sharp on The Dick Van Dyke Show. But behind the scenes, Mary felt constantly undermined. This was a young Mary, still finding her footing, and Rosemary, a veteran who'd been in the business since childhood, apparently made sure Mary knew the pecking order. Little comments about experience. Subtle power plays. Nothing you could point to directly, but enough to make those early years exhausting. James Garner was another surprise. America loved Garner. He seemed like the most laid-back guy in Hollywood. But Mary saw something else. She felt he was dismissive of the craft, treating it all like a joke. And look, Mary had a sense of humor, but she believed television mattered. It went into people's homes. Garner's casual cynicism felt like disrespect to her, and that was something she never really got past. Ted Knight was more complicated. On screen, his Ted Baxter was brilliant. Off-screen, deeply insecure. Mary later admitted that managing Ted's moods, the ups and downs, the neediness, became emotionally draining. She respected his talent, even defended him publicly. But privately, she wished he could handle his demons without making them everyone else's problem. By the early 1970s, Mary had something rare in Hollywood: actual power. Through MTM Enterprises, she wasn't just acting, she was producing, making decisions, setting standards. And that's when things got interesting. Some of her male colleagues struggled with taking direction from a woman. It wasn't loud resistance, it was delays, half-hearted cooperation, jokes designed to undercut her authority. Mary noticed all of it. She understood that misogyny doesn't always announce itself. It shows up in dismissal and minimization. The actors who really got under her skin shared one thing: they underestimated her. They mistook kindness for weakness. They thought her grace meant she'd put up with anything. She didn't correct them. She just remembered. Here's what's fascinating about Mary's story: she never became bitter. People who knew her in those final years said she spoke about all this calmly, almost clinically. These weren't grudges, they were observations. She'd watched patterns repeat themselves and drawn her conclusions. What bothered her most wasn't even the behavior itself. It was how Hollywood protected it. Difficult men got called passionate or perfectionists. But a woman with standards, she was difficult to work with. Mary chose silence because speaking out would have labeled her as ungrateful. So she waited. And by the time she talked about it privately, she didn't need anyone's approval anymore. Mary Tyler Moore wasn't the endlessly cheerful figure we saw on TV. She was tougher, more incisive, and quietly uncompromising. Her smile was genuine, but it was never innocent. It was armor. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The people we invite into our homes every week, we don't really know them. We know the characters they play, the image they project. The real person, that's something else entirely. Mary proved you could lead without shouting, judge without cruelty, and remember without becoming consumed by bitterness. She survived Hollywood by seeing it clearly and moving carefully. That's not the story we were told. But it might be the one worth remembering. What do you think? Did Mary's standards make her difficult, or did Hollywood just not know how to handle a woman with power? Drop your thoughts below.